I have a bag. I have maybe a 1/4 pound of June grass seed. June grass is a cool season grass, and it grows best in really gravelly, nasty soils, which describes this area to a T. There's a bluff that runs right up into here. You can actually see that's the end of it right there. Well, not the end of it, it continues across the street as well. So this ground is really thin and it's mostly gravel. So getting stuff to grow here is a little different than getting stuff to grow over that way. So this is basically all natural right here, and that stuff was planted. You can see this is Canada rye, this is little bluestem, big bluestem, Indian grass. What else do we got here? This is all little bluestem, big bluestem in the back there. This is Virginia rye, I believe. Not sure if I'll keep this here or not. Probably will. And here we have side oats grama. That adds a beautiful texture to a prairie grass garden like this, with the seeds hanging off the side. This is Indian grass, but it didn't do really well with the seeds this year. It's got a couple of these short little seed pods, but like that one right there is much taller. This one right here is much taller. Maybe that is first year. A lot of this stuff is reseeding itself too. I planted little bluestem all the way down to the end, but once I got over the top of the hill into this bluff area, but it's starting to take now from seed, I guess. Also, if you're planting prairie grasses like this, if they don't come up the first year, many grasses like foxtail seeds can stay in the ground for up to 20 years. So when you till up soil, that's why you get all them weeds that come out, and you got to kill them over and over again. And no matter how many times you kill them, you're going to get weeds until all of the seeds that you've tilled up, you know, within a certain layer, until all those are dead, you're going to just keep getting weeds. But the same holds true for your prairie grasses. If you till an area up and kill all the weeds, toss your seeds down, if the seeds don't come up the first year, they might come up the next year. So you got that going for you. Yeah, that's a beautiful stand of big bluestem. Big bluestem is kind of invasive, so it's nice to have other stuff growing right around it that's not going to let its seeds germinate. Otherwise, you might end up with all big bluestem. This is witch's broom, I believe, which is, it's not a weed, it's a native grass to Wisconsin. And I'm just going to let it go and plant around it. And if it has a spot in the garden, so be it. A lot of this stuff, on the other hand, has to go. This is just lawn grass. The seeds made their way in here. So in this area, I'll probably just kill a round spot, plant new stuff there. After a while, this will naturalize, and whatever grows here will grow here. It'll have some of this lawn grass in here. This is probably lawn grass right here. I have no idea what this is. This could be some kind of fescue. It could be bluegrass. Just don't know. I'll have to get some books on it and identify it. All the books I have are on prairie grasses, so it's kind of hard to identify some of these weedy grasses. That, I believe, is all weedy grass. So in the spring, I'm going to come in here with glyphosate and knock some of that stuff out. Little bluestem, big bluestem, and that right there is Indian grass again. And side oats grama, this is from seeds from last year. Last year I planted the stuff up by the road there. I didn't plant any down here. And then at the end of the year, I gathered the seeds and tossed them here and there all over the land. And it's coming up like this, which is a real good thing. Virginia rye, I believe. And stuff like this, I really don't know what that is. And it's not objectionable. It looks really nice. You know, just a tiny plant with these little heads on it. I don't believe it's foxtail. That's foxtail right there, the big puffy stuff. So if I can identify this and it's a native plant, I'll mark it and leave that there. Okay, things start to thin out here. This is mostly grasses from the lawn and weeds. So I'm going to head down to the big bluestem patch down there and we'll take a look at that. The vineyard looks just gorgeous on a fall day like this with all the leaves on the ground and the naked vines. Just beautiful. All right, here's the story of this prairie right here. The first year I planted all big bluestem in this area. I wanted to kind of block off the neighbors over here. This is the edge of our land. I call this the North Prairie. I planted all big bluestem and pretty much nothing happened. It was looking pretty sad. So I planted this nurse grass. This is perennial rye, and that took off real good. But I believe the big bluestem started coming up within the perennial rye shortly afterwards, because this is all big bluestem right here. This is it here, this is it here. They're all kind of small, but the big bluestem is definitely going to take the place over. Big bluestem gets roots up to 12 feet deep. That's why they had such a horrible time trying to plow up the prairies when they first advanced into the west. This is Indian grass right here. So obviously I've tossed a bunch of different kinds of seed back here. I know I've tried to plant prairie drop seed here several times, and I don't know if any of that made it. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It'd be hard to spot it among this perennial rye here. But this perennial rye works really good as a nurse grass because it comes up real quick, it'll grow in shade, but it's not really a long-lived grass, and it doesn't reseed itself all that well. So the prairie grasses that you plant will slowly take over. This is all big bluestem right here. And I planted the prairie drop seed down further by that scarlet oak right there. We can go take a look and see if we can find it. But I think I'll point out the chestnut, American chestnut. This got nuts this year, and I contacted the Chestnut Foundation, and they said that that's not unusual. They can do it as early as, what did they say, 6 to 8 years or something. This is 6 years old, and the two in the woods are 5 years old. They did not have nuts on them. This one did. I got to get a tree protector on this real soon before something girdles it again. You could see where they girdled this. It was about this size, and the rabbits girdled it, and then a bunch of sprouts came up, and I chose the biggest one, cut out the rest. There's actually a video on that too. And I did that the first year I was on YouTube. So this is 3 years old. So I better get that protected before it happens again. And I should get down here with the torch and burn this stuff out. Fall is the best time to burn this dead grass out. And this area right here is all foxtail. I want to get rid of that. All right, I planted that prairie drop seed. There was some bare areas in here and along here, just here and there in this whole area. And I can't see anything. It looks just like this perennial rye. So it'll take a while to notice if any of it's growing or not. It's probably not. Now that I've worked with prairie drop seed for longer, I know how to grow that. You really have to scarify this stuff. And I would soak the seeds as well before planting it. Otherwise, it's probably not going to grow. It's a real hard seed, and you gotta, well, you can see it. There's a video on that as well. This last winter, I scarified it and planted it, and that's how I got all the other prairie drop seed to grow. So these, I just bought seed and I pushed them in the ground, and I don't think any of it's going to grow. So I do want prairie drop seed like in this area right here. So I will probably just kill a spot and put some in that I started already. Yeah, it's looking really nice. A whole lot of big bluestem. It's all like first year looking, even though it's 2 years old. So next year, this place is going to have some real tall grass in it. All right, now for this area, we'll see what we see back here. My little bur oak, this was planted this year, and it was just a tiny little stick. It still is a tiny little stick, but it did pretty well. All right, let's see if we can spot any prairie grasses in here. I've planted in here several times, but it's just taken forever for anything to take hold in here. This perennial rye that I put right here took hold right away. But a lot of the pasture grass seed is like washing down into here, and that's what's taking hold, not the prairie grass. But we'll see. We'll take a walk through here. I haven't been through here in quite some time, so I might have a good deal of warm season stuff growing in here now. Geez, I'm walking through here, looking at my little bur oak tree, and then all this stuff was in my way, so I'm pushing it out of my way. I said, oh, geez, that's big bluestem right there. This is little bluestem right here. Little bluestem right there as well. So it is taking hold here. We'll see how much. I'm not sure how old that is. This is partially shaded in here. This is being transitioned into an oak savanna. The oak trees are going to stay here. Most of this other stuff, aspen and all this other junk stuff, most of it's dead. It's been hacked and squirted. Yeah, that's prairie grass right there. That's big bluestem. Yeah, it's all over. This is little bluestem right here. I came in here earlier in the year and was pretty discouraged because all of these weeds and stuff had taken over, and this stuff probably didn't even sprout yet, so I didn't see it, but it's obviously here. All right, let's get into a sunnier spot over that way and see what's there. Got a mound of stuff here. I'm gonna guess that might be orchard grass. I really don't know. It doesn't look like prairie drop seed. It's a little too coarse. And most of this stuff that looks like just regular grass on the ground is probably perennial rye. I planted that as a nurse grass in here as well. So I'm tripping all over the place. This looks like big or little bluestem, as does this. So it's definitely in here. That right there is Indian grass. Good, good, good. I didn't have the time for it this year, but you really got to get in and spray 2,4-D towards the end of the year and kill off some of this broadleaf stuff. I just didn't have the time, but I should have. That's Indian grass right there. That's the normal look of Indian grass. It's like really dark like that. This is all Indian grass in here as well. Yeah, looking good. So next year, I got to get in early in the year, middle of summer, and late in the year and spray 2,4-D, and that should give all of my prairie grasses the jump start that they need. They're already established, and I'm going to be tossing more seed. All of that little bluestem seed from the gardens up there is going in this area, and over there. Well, it's going a little bit here, a little bit there. So at some point, this will be kind of a restored oak savanna. You could see the oaks that were left behind. Unfortunately, these are all red oaks, but I do have some white oaks planted in here. All right, let's go up in that real sunny area up there and see what we got. These right in here, that, and the ones down in here, that is the kind of areas around logs and stuff where I did a lot of planting the last couple of years, and that does look like prairie drop seed. But two things, it hasn't gone to seed like all the other ones have, or the vast majority of them, and there's a lot of grasses that look like that. This year I'm going to get, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 pound of prairie drop seeds, and I'm going to condition all of them and then plant them here next spring. No more just buying them and sticking them in the ground. That just does not work. Waste of seed. I'm not seeing a whole lot of prairie grasses in this area. This area was just solid weeds, and it kind of is again. I killed back the early weeds this last spring, but I did not do anything the rest of the year, and it shows. But I did get in here and plant all of this nurse grass. So at some point within the next couple of years, this is all going to be prairie grasses in here as well. We're stopping the prairie right down at the rock road down there, and we're going to thin this woods out. We're going to leave various trees that are part of a oak savanna, but it definitely won't be as dense as this. It's going to have, I would say, 10% of these trees are staying. And then much of the rest of our woods is just going to remain the same woods that it is now. We're only restoring the upper half of the land here. We're getting towards the far end of this prairie, and not a whole lot of prairie grasses growing in this area. Yeah, I really have to get this seeded. This is one right here, Indian grass, but pretty much nothing. Oh, that's little bluestem right there. It's here, but not as much as I would like. And some of these low growing, like tufts, are probably like that right there. That is probably like a first year of something similar to this, either Indian grass or little bluestem or something. Oh, that's big bluestem here, and Indian grass there, and little bluestem here. Got all three of the main varieties all right next to each other.